If a tree falls in the woods and nobody is around to hear it, does it still make a noise? Most likely, probably yes. Of course it does. But these sounds that I'm about to list off, those ones no one can explain. Welcome back to Most Amazing. Here are the top 10 strange noises that no one can explain. Kicking off the list at number 10, Space Roar. It's like Katy Perry's next song, Space Roar. It's even louder. Kicking off this list with the loudest sound in the universe, okay, the space roar is unimaginable, really, to us humans. First of all, space by itself is just too much. I can't stomach the fact that it's never ending, let alone the fact that it's loud now, too. Apparently it smells like blood. I don't know, it's a little small fact that I heard. It's always stuck in my head, rent free. They say nobody can hear you scream in space, but if you're loud enough, apparently that's false. Back in 2006, we heard the space roar through radio waves. These sounds were coming from distant stars, so whatever it is, I think we're far enough from its dangers. Maybe it's Odin? I'm not sure. Its signal came from multiple directions at the same time, so we have no clue where to even start. We also think it's more than one object. I think that's alarming. Yeah, it's pretty alarming. A cluster of dark matter, maybe it's a wormhole sucking up a moon, maybe it's E.T. and his homeboys just having a rager. I feel like we won't figure this one out, and you know what, I'm okay with that. Number 9, the train. I live next to a train track, and I gotta say, sometimes it's alarming. Sometimes it sounds like it's a guy playing bongos in the middle of the night. You're sleeping, you're confused, you're not really sure what you're hearing. The train echoes off buildings. It sounds like not a train at all. I get it. This train noise, however, was recorded on March 5th, 1997. And was it a voice note? Was it a sleep recording? Nope, it was recorded through a hydrophone. On the Equatorial Pacific Ocean Autonomous Hydrophone Array, or APA-UA-HA for short. Just a bunch of fish phones out there listening to some spooky sounds. So this sound here, we're not even entirely sure where it came from, as are most of these in this list. But the only idea that we do have right now is that it might be a massive iceberg in the Ross Sea around Cape Adare. Number 8, an abandoned house. Have you ever had the urge to explore a haunted house? Like really, in real life? Like aside from the ghost of Stonewall Jackson, real squatters might be in these abandoned houses. Like real people putting you in real danger. Like not ghosts. Don't ghost hunt in rusted abandoned buildings. Just be safe. Don't get stabbed by someone. It's like, I think I hear a ghost. It's like, no, it's a guy. He's a dangerous guy. Get out of there. This next sound was picked up in an abandoned house when, of course, two friends were exploring it looking for ghost activity. To be fair, despite what I just said, they did record some unusual sounds. They found something, okay? Sometimes you find something. As they looked around through mold and rotting animals and horrible things, just things you should not be breathing in, they heard this coming from upstairs.
You're hearing that, right? Like random footsteps?
Look at the floor. If somebody was up there, they would fall through.
So right off the bat, we have something. Let's check it out further, right? That's a better idea than just running away. Things could only escalate from there. Then this happened.
Yo.
That I'm going through the bathroom.
Bro!
I wanted to include sounds from every category. Space, underwater, some haunted houses. This one was pretty spooky, so let's go over to some more sea sounds to cool us down. Number 7, 52 hertz whale. I love whales. They're the closest thing to a dinosaur in my humble opinion. They're beautiful, complex creatures that we should definitely leave alone. But not all of them. Sometimes they get too lonely, like the 52 hertz whale, for example. There's a documentary about this sad sound. Joshua Zeman made a documentary about the loneliest whale. The loneliest whale is depressing, but it's equally as interesting. For decades, we've heard this sound. Now, this film called The Loneliest Whale, The Search for 52, has people crying. Their faces go pale when they watch it. Early reviews were great, but how did we find the loneliest whale in the world? Also, why is he so lonely? This is so sad. Well, back in 1989, the US Navy first detected this sound that measured in at more than twice the frequency of a normal, healthy whale call. Originally, what got them intrigued was the fact that this could have been a military mechanical sound. But then they thought maybe it's an animal. Perhaps it's like a hybrid dinosaur. I don't know. This is just a lonely whale, and its voice sounds a little bit different than others. But why is this frequency scaring away possible friends and mates? Well, that's the mystery. Number 6, Julia. Another normal name, another creepy underwater sound. Julia, let's talk about her. Back in March 1999, this noise here was recorded, again by the same National Oceanic Atmospherics Administration hydrophone crew. This time the noise was heard across the entire Pacific Ocean hydrophone array, so across all of that distance, not just in one little area. This sound was carried, so whatever made this noise has to have some horsepower behind it. This noise is actually pretty long too, so obviously we can't include the whole thing or else you'd be sitting like for 2.5 minutes. That's long, it's very long. Some people out there have listened to all of it and they think that it's the Kraken or like some sort of elder god. The point of origin is determined to be somewhere around Bransfield Straits and Cape Adair. That's all we know. Literally. This Cape Adair gets a lot of action and we think it's because of icebergs. But again, there's no hard evidence here really. It's just a sound and they go that way, I think. What do you guys think? Is the Kraken's real name Julia? I think so. Number 5, the whistle. That's the sound of a 27-year-old who maybe knows how to whistle. That's the best I can do. But this next whistle is much more concerning. Picked up, of course, by hydrophones, as most of these insane things are commonly found in the depths of the deepest, darkest oceans, was this whistle. We don't actually know where this one even came from, really. The others, we have some ideas, certain radar points we can look in, start poking around. The whistle, though, total mystery. We have no idea. Back in 1997, this was picked up and it came from somewhere in the Pacific. Isn't that nice and calming? Yeah, it's somewhere in that giant place that we have no idea of anything inside of it. The noise is a little similar to other sounds recorded, like volcanic noises in the Mariana Volcanic Arc, but that was only one hydrophone. This whistle got the attention of them all. It's like that guy at a baseball game behind you who keeps whistling. You're like, can you shut the f up? Number 4, UVB 76. This one legit gives me goosebumps. We're jumping out of the seat for this one, so lose those goggles. In the 1980s, when a radio tower north of Moscow began transmitting these random, creepy sounding beeps, yeah, apparently beeps are creepy now. Come 1992, these sounds began to change. That year, it suddenly switched to a buzzing sound. It was short and sweet, but it would happen around 25 times a minute. Just maybe it's a bee trying to call home, I don't know. This strange routine would be interrupted once every few weeks by a male voice, which would then be reciting a string of numbers and words randomly. It's like he was trying to reset the Winter Soldier all of a sudden. To make things more creepy here, in June 2010, and also in August of the same year, the station briefly stopped sending out signals just in general all around. Maybe they ran out of battery. Maybe the guy took a lozenge break, you know, some lemon tea one weekend. All that talking so long, it's gotta do something. At the end of August in 2010, the station again changed. Now there were different sounds. These sounds of shuffling and thuds that could be heard in the background often. And also, the best part, there were little snippets of the dance of the little swans from Swan Lake. That would also interrupt the broadcast. How creepy and random is this? I don't understand. If there's any secret agents that are listening to that or listening to this, I want in. Send me Swan Lake Mission Impossible briefings. I'll check them all out. Knock twice and do a pirouette. Deal. Number 3. Into the woods. Heading back to the year none of us can remember for some reason, back to 2017, somebody did get a voice note of this.
What the f?
That sound they could hear coming from the woods near their house, near their home. Could you imagine living near that? I would never sleep again. I would move instantly. So clearly the person that's taking this recording is terrified. Also, I would be too. I'd be shaking around. You'd hear it moving in my jean pockets. I'm getting an eerie feeling listening to this and I'm not even close to any woods at all. Maybe there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for all of this, but regardless, if that's the case, this one sound is absolutely chilling to hear. I just don't like creepy sounds. Someone can explain this, but don't explain this. Let me be afraid of this one. Number 2, the trumpet sound. Okay, this one I actually remember here in Canada. It was on the news when I was a little younger, and I'll be honest, I was actually concerned. Or you would be too if you heard this. Back in 2013, a woman in British Columbia began to hear this loud sound that resembled a trumpet. This long, evil sounding brrr trumpet. Like someone's dad's just burping after a Labor Day weekend of just stuffing down hot dogs. Well, maybe somebody learning how to play for the first time. It sounded a little too wet, maybe a little bit too deep, out of control. You know, loosen the spit valve on this one. Check it out. So quickly people began to question how real this video was because there wasn't like a big reaction to it. It wasn't trending on Twitter. But slowly but surely reports of a similar sound began coming in from all around the world, like Texas and Norway and Canada, everywhere. Although the sounds differ just a little bit, they're all pretty similar and super mysterious. Is it one person? Is it a bunch of people playing music out in the woods? Is it an iceberg? No one's been able to figure out exactly where this one's coming from. But one professor from the University of Saskatchewan, another concerned Canadian, he believes that the noises are electromagnetic waves coming from the Northern Lights. Ah yes, the beautiful Northern Lights. Ignore the sounds of the apocalypse and oh, boy is she beautiful. Number 1, the mystery boom. This last one was actually pretty recent. It was early in 2021 in San Diego. Residents reacted to what sounded like a sonic boom. Windows were shook, doors were starting to rattle, it felt like a poltergeist was happening all around for all these homes. A lot of San Diego heard and felt this thing, but what was it? Well, many believe it was an earthquake at first, being in San Diego and all, this wouldn't exactly be shocking. But this hits the point home even further. These residents are used to earthquakes. They know all these sounds and feels. This was entirely new and pretty concerning for them. No earthquakes were reported at the time, and the Marines didn't speak up about anything, no tests were happening. And if it was a sonic boom from a plane, well, they're not even allowed to do that close to the coast. You can't sonic boom a family of 4 just trying to have a beach day. Blow Tommy's ears out, you can't do that. My guess is Thor. In San Diego, that's for sure Thor. Just doing chin-ups at the beach, I can see it, that's him. Guys, those were our top 10 strange noises no one can explain. If a part 2 is in your deepest desires, then sound off below. I hate myself. I've been Taylor McWaters. We'll see you next time. A most amazing top 10. Bye.